Hello, everybody. We are at Jokea, as you know, and I'm called Shaddai. As you know, we are going to discuss many things about sexual reproductive health. Wherever you are, wherever you stay, in a state, in Africa, in Rwanda, at each province, I welcome you at Jokea YouTube channel. Today we have interesting guest, a beautiful girl who is going to tell us about beautiful topic. I want you to follow from the beginning to the end of this discussion because she has good news for you. Let me introduce. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Shaddai. So my name's Sandrine. Currently a medical student at the University of Rwanda, and I'm also working at Jokea. Thank you.
You are welcome, Sandrine. So you are a medical student?
Yeah.
So you are going to tell us what about the health education.
Yeah.
Inclusive health education, more especially bringing back up to the people with disability.
Yeah.
So how about the health education in general?
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about inclusive health education and bridging gaps with people with disability. So health education incorporates a lot of topics, particularly we are going to talk about sexual health education. And when we talk about inclusive sexual health education, it just doesn't mean that word. It means a lot of educational approaches that are going to be used and initiatives to be able to work with all different and diverse kinds of people, with people with disabilities also included.
Why do you need sexual education?
Sexual education is needed because firstly, it empowers people. So if particularly we talk about people with disabilities, it empowers them to help them make informed health decisions. People out here make different health decisions according to how they feel, probably according to the different myths that they are told in their communities or in their parents. But with sexual education, which is also up to date, it will also help them have informed health decisions. It will help them to have a clear stage at which they talk about their sexual well-being and their sexual health.
When you understand this topic called inclusive sexual health education and bringing back up for people with disability, it's like for that special group, the people who have a disability, they lack some information. Can you tell us more about that, if you have any?
Yeah.
When you see this topic, it is inclusive sexual health education, bringing up for people for disability.
Yeah.
My question is, why is inclusive health education is important, more especially for people with disability? And what are some challenges faced by those people?
Okay, so firstly, people with disabilities have barriers to get access to the health information, the sexual health information. So which is why inclusive sexual health education with people living with disabilities, where they are also included, will help them to have increased access to the health education, increased access to the numerous decisions that they have to take according to how they feel sexually. So another thing is people living with disabilities, I hope everyone knows they are most vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. So on that topic, once we give them the sexual health education that is needed for them to be given to, exploitation and abuse will radically decrease in numbers, systematically. So I believe sexual health education is crucial. I believe it is important to be given to all diverse kinds of people, and particularly to those living with disabilities, because they are the most people that really need it.
Even starting by communication.
Yeah, communication.
So to me that we need that the sexual education is available for all people.
All people.
All kind.
Yeah.
If they need some of those kind of the sign languages,
Yeah, sign languages.
those material used by those people who live with blindness, in order that to get access for those kind of all information.
Yeah.
So how can we ensure that that education is for
given
all
for
and
all
for
people.
everywhere?
So health education, first of all, right now is currently given through the normal curriculum that all people are able to access. But to people with disabilities, I hope we should change the way at which we give these teachings. We should develop different formats at which these teachings are given, either in video formats, in picture formats, in comic formats, or in audio formats for the people living with disabilities, either being blind or not being able to hear. So we should also be able to decrease, like to make it simple text. Like we should make it simple text at which people have access to this information. Let's make it plain text so that they can be able to understand. Let's incorporate it in the formats at which they're able to listen and hear. And let's also give it to, reach it to the people that are near to them so that they can understand the real reason that sexual health education is given, and they should also know.
By creating video, by
Videos.
creating image, by creating
Images, yeah.
those type of exercise and
Yeah.
the practical things,
Yeah.
they may help them.
Yeah.
So what's the role of the caregivers, the healthcare provider, the educator? They may role, or the role they can help to show that or to bring that gap with the people with disability, in order that we can fill that gap, for the sexual health education for our people from the caregivers, from the parent.
Yeah. So most particularly the caregivers and the educators and healthcare providers aren't the only ones that are privileged or the ones that have in their role to play to teach those with disabilities. Actually, everyone that lives with those people is supposed to have it as their burden to teach them about sexual health education. So their role firstly is to provide support. They should be able to provide either emotional support at every level of their health and at every level of their growth, to support them to be able to learn and understand about sexual health education. And they should also be their own advocates. They should teach them how to advocate for themselves. They should teach them how to stand for themselves. They should teach them how to know their own rights and also to fight for their own rights. So healthcare providers should also be taught to teach people living disabilities in a simpler language than in comparison to other people. So they should be taught to teach them in simple language. They should be taught to be patient with them. So except emotional support and education, they should also be there at every stage of their growth. They should be available and they should be able to give the right amount of education at the right time.
Yes, thank you. You know that discussing about sexual health education, in some culture, in some countries, it's like a taboo.
Yeah, it is.
It is not easy. So how the strategy, suppose that a parent have a child with a disability, which strategy can he use or can she use in order that she can help or can help that kid with disability to know more particular on sexual education, as it is not easy even for the normal people.
Yeah, it is. So firstly, let's take those people who aren't able to see. So to the caregivers and those that give them support, they should be able to change it into visual aids and multimedia so that they can be able to listen to the kind of education that they want to teach. And not only that, it should be an interactive session between them and the people living with disability. Let's put it into practice and let's make it like a hands-on learning session at which people living with disability are able to encounter with also those, they should be able to encounter with the same people living with disability as a group, and they should be able to have a hands-on learning on this topic. Firstly, they should learn in their groups, and also those people, they're supposed to incorporate the education and put it in the format that they're able to understand, either in visual aids or multimedia or in audios or in pictures and videos.
Let's go back to the family level.
Family level.
Starting from you, did your parent told about sexual health education at which age?
So sincerely, African parents are really shy talking about sexual health education. So mostly the sexual health education was taught while we were in primary school. And as we grew up, they actually teach it to you when you're in your secondary school years, like 16, 17, 18, until now. Yeah.
So, as you said, it is like a taboo to say on sexual education. But what you are going to say is that it is not a taboo. I think sexual health, it is a right.
Yeah, it's a right.
It is, I think, it is one of the basic need of human beings, including to have sex. That is the need. And everyone needs to know the right time, the right choice, and how can do that.
Yeah.
And for the parents, I think they should understand this.
Yeah.
It is not a sin to tell your kid that this is doing like this, you're going to do this at this age.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, is there any specific topic do you think they can tackle when they are teaching on sexual health education, mainly in disability people?
Okay.
Or people with disability?
I understand. So if we break that question into small parts, firstly, the main topics that I think they can be able to teach, let's start from the scratch. Let's teach them about the anatomy of their body.
Okay.
Let's teach them about how their body is how it is, and how their actions and decisions will be able to have consequences on their body. So secondly, let's teach them about, earlier I've talked about how they are the most vulnerable to exploitation and sexual abuse. So let's teach them to be able to give consent. Let's teach them that sexual health is their right and privilege. And we should also give them the right skills at which they're supposed to give consent, the right skills at which they're supposed to say yes or no when they want it. And also, except from that, we're supposed to teach them how to be able to live with others, their relationships, either romantic relationships or friendly relationships. Yeah. I think aside from that, there are a lot of things that they might cover in sexual health education. But by teaching them how their body will have the consequences with the decisions and the actions they have, it will also help them.